Welcome to the show, everyone. You know, I love my show, and I really do. And the reason why I love it so much is because of all the information that people get here. We're live on Facebook, so hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to share the show later on. My first guest has never been on with me before. I have with me Monica May Dunn. She is the CEO of Arizona Escrow and Financial Corporation, and you also have with you Annette Anderson, the president of Arizona Escrow and Escrow Financial Corporation. Welcome to the show. I want to thank you for being here, and I want, Monica, for you, first of all, to tell everybody a little bit about what you all do.
Thank you, Carol, for having us here today. Arizona Escrow and Financial is really the leading provider of escrow services in Arizona, dedicated to ensuring a smooth and secure transaction. Our clients are at the heart of everything we do. We tailor our services to meet your unique needs of each client, providing personalized solutions and an exceptional customer service. Our goal is to make the escrow process as seamless and stress-free as possible.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple questions that you can't just read, okay?
Okay.
So here we're going to go. Because the first time is always the hardest, folks, but I want to do this to you because it's going to make it easier for the rest of it to go the way I want it to go.
Okay.
First of all, you said that you work statewide. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And when you work with people, today, and I know you had asked me not to, but this is the perfect time. But do you work with them where they do it digitally, or is it done online or by phone? How do you work with people statewide?
So we can either do a closing in the office, or we can also have electronics. So we are able to have DocuSign documents, and we also have mobile notary available.
Okay, so Annette, some of the key services that you offer are?
It's funny because we offer escrow services that very few other companies do. We actually do business and personal property transactions. So if you're selling your restaurant, your dry cleaner, anything along those lines, those are the transactions we actually specialize in, and we have for 40 years.
Can you tell people out there why you need your services within that type of when you're selling your restaurant or your what did you say, your restaurant?
Restaurant, dry cleaners.
Dry cleaner, or
any
whatever,
kind of
your business.
Yeah, small businesses. It's a good idea because that way buyers have the insurance to know that their money is being held in a safe place until such time as their contingencies are removed in their contract. It's also a good thing for the seller to know that the buyer's funds are good, right? You're not accepting a personal check from someone you don't know.
Okay, so we're going to turn that mic right close to you so we can hear that a little bit better. So basically, almost anyone that's selling a business, that's does it matter what size, what kind,
No.
what have you, you need this service.
Yes.
Right? Now, their phone number is 602-956-2629. Their website is arizonaescrow.com, and they work statewide. I just want to ask what you said what makes you different earlier. I want you to kind of go in on that. But is it just for people who sell businesses or for other things as well?
No, actually, we also do commercial real estate. So if you have a business and a building, we can handle both the business and the building. We can also handle vacant land. So when you think about needing a neutral third party to handle an escrow transaction, you would think of us, because we customize the escrow based on what the customer needs.
We basically will escrow anything except for a house. That's the only thing we don't do.
So when you say you customize it, I want you to explain what that means. Because you would think that it would be just cookie cutter, it's a business, it doesn't matter, but it does.
Correct. We have a product called a holding and disbursement account. So basically, if there's any litigation, we would hold funds or documents until the settlement, until a court order is sent to us, and then we would disperse those funds based on the court order. So
Okay.
that is a little bit different than what anybody else does.
Now again, their phone number is 602-956-2629. They work statewide, and it's arizonaescrow.com. So some congratulations are in order, and kudos to you for this. Monica has been named one of the Arizona AZRE magazine's most influential women in commercial real estate of 2024. Congratulations on that. That is so cool. What does that feel like?
Well, thank you so much, Carol. Being named one of the most influential it's a tremendous honor. especially with the other ladies who were also honored. It's just a reflection, I believe, on our continued hard work and dedication. Our entire team at Arizona Escrow, we are a team, and this recognition underscores there's so many things that we strive for. It's just a testament to a relentless pursuit on our high standards and quality, and just gaining the value so people can see the value and trustworthiness of our customers.
Absolutely.
She's actually being very humble.
You know, I think it's so cool.
It's a big deal.
It really, really is. And not very many people have that happen to them, no matter how many. I think it's just awesome that you were. Now, for plans for 2025, what are they? Go ahead.
Want to take that one?
So for 2025, we're going to continue to focus on our customer service and offer even more services. We're actually looking at remote online notary. We're going to get some people certified in that, so we can actually do notaries online, which is something new to the state of Arizona. We're also going to look at possibly offering title insurance, opening a title plant so we can actually do our own title work. It's something that we've been thinking about. It's just something it's a little involved, so it's going to take a little bit of planning in that way. And if we do that, we may be able at some point to go nationwide with our services.
I have a question that I'm just wondering about because sometimes I think for the audience, right? When is the time for them to call you? When is the best time at the once they start deciding that they're going to sell their business, or how does that work?
So usually when they're selling their businesses, it'll go through a broker. So once the broker gets together and writes the LOI or the letter of intent, that's usually when it comes to us, and that's usually when the deposit check is written as well. So we don't handle the actual sale part of it. Once the buyer and seller have come to an initial agreement, that's when it usually comes to us.
So, and they have the opportunity to call you themselves, right?
Exactly.
So you don't, it's not like, you know, you give all the information to them and then of course they do it. They could say that, but you know what, you can call them. They're the ones to call. They're saying that. If you think of this, they're the people to think of. So their phone number is 602-956-2629. They do work statewide, and the website is arizonaescrow.com. Now, we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, I want to talk further, because I think it's really important that people understand that they have to do this. This is not something that, you know, you don't have a choice of, right? So you might as well call the best of the best if you're going to call. And again, tell them what you think, what makes you really stand out over anybody else, really quickly, Annette.
We've just been doing it for a very long time.
How long have you been doing it?
So I actually started in the industry in 1992. So I've been around this industry for a very long time. There's very little I haven't seen.
Yes.
Also, another thing, and I just have to remember our conversation that we had before you even came on, when I first talked to you on the phone, was that woman-owned.
Correct.
Right, also, and that's pretty cool that it is. So again, it's all about, let me tell you, experience makes things a lot easier, and people, when they know what they're talking about, makes it easier for you to understand too. Their phone number, write it down, 602-956-2629. Maybe you're thinking about selling your business. You have a building. You need to do it properly, right? And you can check them out on their website. It's arizonaescrow.com. They do work statewide. Again, that number, and maybe it's you or someone that you know. That's another thing. I always like that about, that's what networking is all about. Tell someone about it, that they call the best. Again, that number is 602-956-2629. It's arizonaescrow.com. Hang tight. We are going to be back in just a minute. Again, 602-956-2629. Okay, we're going to keep on going because we're live in this room, okay? When we read, it makes it quicker because you're just not talking from here. I want to talk from here so that you can help me. What is the process? I'd like to know what the process is once you get those papers.
So once we get the papers, usually a contract and the deposit, then the buyer and seller start their due diligence process. They start looking at books and records, they start looking at the business as a whole, deciding if it's right, what's right.
And they call that due diligence.
Due diligence process.
Sure.
Once they go through there and remove all their contingencies in the due diligence process, during that time, we will also run a UCC search, which basically tells if there's any reported or filed liens or encumbrances against the business. What makes businesses different than real estate is that the actual transaction itself is not recorded, so there's no deed, there's nothing that's recorded on a business, unless you have a lien that's being recorded.
Really? I would think
So
completely.
like there's no so like I can't go back and do a title search on a business like I can a piece of property because there's nothing recorded on it.
Oh, this is interesting. I
Yeah.
can't wait to talk about that when we get back. So if that's okay with you, I'd like to
absolutely.
do that because we've gone through a lot
I
of
don't
this.
think a lot of people know that.
That's
Right.
what I want to talk
Yeah.
about. And
Right.
if once we're done, I'm
Yes.
gonna talk about the way I would do it, okay?
Okay.
And then I'll tell you what my thoughts are,
Okay.
okay? Because you're right. People don't understand the necessity of it and why it's so important, okay? And of course, when I talk about the process, you know, there's a reason why you do it, right? So this way, and it could be easily said or it could be
Right.
explained and educated, and that's what I like to do more than anything is
Sure.
educate those people out there. And
That's why
90
we,
seconds.
okay, thanks. Again, so let's say somebody does sell it, and that's all. Now they do have a record of it, right? And is it like a way to
Bill
So
of sale.
it's basically, so the bill of sale is the document that actually transfers the business, and again, it's not recorded anywhere,
Okay.
right? So there's basically warranties and things like that, and part of the due diligence process that the buyer goes through, that actually
Okay.
make sure the seller is the person who's been selling those kinds of
Okay,
things.
so you help them being able to look and find that information.
We really don't, because we're basically a disinterested third party, so we take our instructions from both parties,
Okay,
right?
you do.
So what we do is we find information, if we find information, we present it.
Oh,
They
okay.
then tell us what to do with it,
Okay.
right? So if there's a lien, say the seller has a tax lien or something like that, the seller goes, yeah, I've already paid that. Buyer goes, okay, you need to show me proof, right? So that's
love
where
the
all
story.
this comes
I
in.
like the story.
it's perfect.
I'm gonna try
That's
and
why
have
you
you do
need to
that.
do
And then it's up to the
those.
buyer to tell me, okay, I'm willing to take this,
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
so
try and
do
get
it.
to a story.
okay?
If not, we'll do it next time. I'll tell you what I mean. Cause that's perfect right there.
Okay.
Okay. And these people here, what's that?
I was just saying.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you were gonna say. So, okay,
WCI just had a commercial.
Huh?
WCI.
so welcome back, everyone. So, we're gonna come right up on those mics, okay. And we are talking, with Monica May Dunn, and she's the CEO of Arizona Escrow and Financial Corporation. She also has with her Annette Anderson, who's the president. And, you know, I love the break, because especially the first time that people come on, right, at the break, they're like, okay, we're gonna talk to Facebook Live, and that's awesome. But then we kind of start talking a little bit more about the business, and I get to know a little bit more about them too, because I'm learning along with everyone. I believe this is one of the first times I've ever had an escrow company on my show, and I've always wanted to, and the reason why is because there's a reason for it, right? And I also want you to get out very clear about that it's not residential.
That's correct.
Okay, so real quickly again, tell them what makes you different and what you do so that we hear the people that might just tuned in.
So we basically can escrow anything except for residential real estate. That's not what we do, okay? So we do personal property, businesses, commercial real estate, and then, like Monica had said earlier, we have a holding and disbursement product that is used mainly in lawsuits, things along those lines.
And that was the one that could be nationwide.
That's
correct.
But really, mostly we work statewide,
That's correct.
and it is something when you're selling a business or you're dealing with land, this is something that you have to have. There's no doubt that you have to have it. So you can call them direct, and it could be you or someone that you know that you tell them about this. It's 602-956-2629. It's ArizonaEscrow.com. So at the break, I did ask you, and I'm going to try and kind of say, there's a process, and the reason why it's important to have you there, and explain that.
So the escrow process, we're basically a disinterested third party that takes instruction from both buyer and seller. So like if you were to go through an attorney, the attorney usually represents one of the parties, but not both, right? So when the contract comes to us and the deposit is deposited, the seller then knows the funds that for the deposit is there, right? So their earnest money deposit is there. And the buyer can then start their due diligence process. The buyer has the option of doing a UCC lien and judgment search through us, which we look for recorded and filed liens, tax liens, things like that against the business. Like we just discussed earlier during the break, with businesses, there's nothing recorded regarding the transfer of the title of a business. Like with a piece of property, you have a deed. It's recorded with the county recorder's office. There's nothing like that for a business. So basically, that's part of the buyer's due diligence process to say, first of all, does the seller own this business? Second of all, this is the business I want to buy, right? And this gives them the time to do that.
Absolutely. And I said to you, I can't believe that they don't have things recorded like that. It just seems so like it would be. But here's the thing, one of the things that you brought up is if somebody has a tax lien, let's say they say, oh, well, I paid for that. Well, you can, for them, you can actually do the checking, correct?
We do a search to see if it's been released, and then, the buyer needs to then tell us, because like we said, we do our mutual instruction, right? The buyer can then tell us, okay, the seller has given me information that shows me this has been released, and let's go ahead and proceed. Or, I want to wait until I see the lien release for this.
Right, I'd want to wait.
I would too.
Just, I don't know about anybody else out there, but in anyone that just tells you, oh yeah,
I paid
that. You want to make sure you call them. Their phone, and that's the other thing, is you can call the best. That's the other thing, is you know what? You have the right to do that, and so when you hear this information, write it down, especially if you're in this situation right now. You might be selling a property, I sort of say a business, maybe you have even own the building, the land, you said, these are the people to call. She's been around, and you said since 1990 that you've been doing this.
92.
1992. That's a long time. And how long?
I've been in the business since 1990.
So
I started in
you were the
Arizona
one.
Escrow in 1990.
Wow.
We've known each other that long.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yes.
But what's really neat is, of course, what you bring to the table is that experience, and that is what you want, right? And again, that phone number is 602-956-2629. It's ArizonaEscrow.com. Okay, Monica, I want to ask you, I know that you have a podcast.
Yes, I do.
And so I want you to talk a little bit about it.
So I started this podcast, and it's called Practical and Positive Leadership, and usually my guests are industry leaders, and we discuss a topic from a book, either John Gordon, Patrick Lencioni, and if my guest has a book they want to do, we can do that. Usually it is just a base to talk about the topics, give us a baseline on what their style of learning is, and what it does is actually brings in all the industry leaders and shows them what their technique, what their styles, and how we can all really be brought together as a community, and we can help each other.
Yeah, and you know what else? We are all leaders in our own selves, really. You're a leader of your own self, so,
Correct.
right?
Yes.
And you say that you even do tips, and you talk about leadership and what that means, and
Yes.
obviously you're talking to leaders already, so they might already know, but there's nothing like the power of other people, right? And
Yes.
having a mastermind kind of other people that can help you think of things that maybe you didn't think of.
That's absolutely correct. And what it's done really is kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes on different techniques, different styles, and what may not work and what works for other people. There were some things that we all learn. I'm a lifelong learner, so I love listening to books and reading. But for time purposes, yes, listening has been very helpful for me in learning different ideas and how to tackle certain challenges that some of my guests have really opened my eyes to that.
That's really neat. What's the name of your podcast?
Practical and Positive Leadership, and you can listen to it on iTunes, Audible, Spotify. I'm not sure where else.
I think YouTube.
YouTube, yes, it's also on YouTube.
So, a question for you. What is the biggest, I was going to do the community, but we have time, so
Okay.
the challenges that you have, that you get faced with what you do, and just in life in general, with even, I guess with leadership.
Well, I think, the market, that's a big challenge for the company because it depends on interest rates. It's such a fluctuation and inventory. So basically, I mean, you just have to keep your mind open to that's going to happen, especially in commercial real estate. And business transactions, the same thing. A lot of people, they say it's called buying a job. They buy a business when maybe they get laid off and they don't know, they want to go into something that they're good at, a service industry, landscaping, a restaurant, pest control or painting or, and they buy a business.
Some people retire and then decide they didn't want to retire.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of times that happens, right?
Yes, it
And
does.
also another time is when you want to do something as a legacy for your children or your grandchildren, and you want something there for them, and you're giving them something that they can grow, but there's a process
Exactly.
involved, and you don't know what you don't know, and that's what I love about this show the most. Is that you actually can be the one that calls your own escrow person. And so for the fact that you know that, you want to call the best. And you have the experience. They've been around since 1990?
Yes,
So
thank
since
you.
1990, I think they know what they're doing, right? And is land also work the same way or a little different?
Land, there are deeds
Mhm.
and there's actually a recording, just like a house.
Okay, so Annette,
Mhm.
community involvement, you said that was very important,
It is.
and I want to talk about what that looks like to you and what your strategies are for that.
When Monica bought the company and asked me to be the president of her company, I looked at her and said, okay, what's your vision for your company? And she said, we not only want to do business, we also want to give back to the community that gives to us,
Mhm.
right? So we've partnered with charities such as Amanda Hope, who helps with pediatric cancer. We've done all kinds of things with American Heart Association, things like that. So we try to give back as much as we can.
Well, I just think that's really neat because it's so true. You get from the community and you want to give back. That's really awesome. What would be your final words for the people that are listening today that you want to tell them about, calling the company and having that you do the work for them?
Well, our clients and our customers are really the heart of our company. So if you have any questions or need a referral, we are good referral resource for to help them get started.
So if you are planning on selling your business, if you are planning on buying a business, obviously, also land, we talked a little bit about that, maybe you own your building, you have to have this transaction. This is something that has to be done, but the due diligence also has to be done. It has to be done correctly, and you want to do it with the best. Their phone number to call is 602-956-2629. They work statewide. You can check them out on their website. It's arizonaescrow.com. Again, if you are even thinking about this, right now is the time to make sure. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, the rates and this and that. And we're going to talk sometime. I would love to talk about what's going on in that world with that and businesses. Have a conversation with them. 602-956-2629. It's arizonaescrow.com.